a lot of blood on this poor woman. Poor might be an inaccurate
And
description.
here we are. Welcome back to Tales of Berseria. I am the Salted Grump, also known as K. Wilson or Selnar, and with me as technical support is Hazel Van Dice, who is a good friend.
Hey, just
So, as you can see, we are actually sitting on the start menu, and hey, it looks like the game actually likes me this time because YouTube streaming is not shitting the bed.
yeah. Everything all right from this part?
Everything looks good, so I guess you can escape now. So, you take care of
Okay.
yourself, Hazel. I hope you
Thank you.
enjoy the game when you play it yourself.
We'll try to do. Take care, Grump.
Yep. So, now that all the shenanigans and support is out of the way, let's get going. I am going to do this with, well, anyone's invited to come into the commentary and all, but because I still have a single monitor setup instead of multiple monitors, I will not actually be able to respond to any questions posted in the stream chat. I do apologize for this in advance. It's just one of the vagaries of having a apartment that's 11 feet by 12 feet in size. I really don't have the room. So, you might notice a few small things here and there that have popped up on the map, like the icon over there, just directly in front of us, where a herb was. I did some off-screen grinding yesterday in order to get some masteries up and running, and we still have some people to talk to in this little town over here, so let's go do that first. Also, that reminds me, you might notice that Velvet is slightly faster. That is due to an item we picked up. Specifically, this item, the Wanderer's Ventite, is an item you get by, you basically, what's the term I'm looking for? By buying and selling items. I mentioned in the first stream that there was a market level that you could increase by buying and selling things, of course. And the Wanderer's Ventite is the reward for getting to market level 2, which gives you a discount on any purchases. And, well, in this case, it also gives you a permanent plus 10 movement speed on the map, which is not bad. It's because it stacks, well, you can get more, so you end up getting pretty quick by the late game. Anyway, let's just start talking with the civilians and all that. And as that person just said, well, it's kind of hard to make a living when the Abbey says, oh, that stuff's unnecessary, you can do without. Because the Abbey's entire shtick is for the greater good, which means that if you're not greater, you're not good. Yeah, there's already cracks showing, and it's not just due to Velvet's extreme rage at what the Abbey did to her as 3 years ago within the game's time frame. Shiny thing, also the nice number because I'm immature, so nice. So, looks like Dial, his family is still alive, so, because wretch of a son. In the previous stream, when we last entered this town, we met Eleanor Hume, an exorcist, and, well, apparently she's odd because, well, she's willing to go out into, quote, wild areas like this and actually talk with people and try to help. Which is, well, something that the Abbey probably frowns upon because they're distinctly undermanned, in Eleanor's own words. And that's really the crux of it. She is incredibly naive. Oh, look. Dial's dad is still alive. He's short and bald, so I guess his kid gets all the fun genetics of being a demon. And this here, obviously, is the inn. There's a few bits and bobs, a little bit of treasure and all that. But the big thing is that there's a skit if you spend the night. And yeah, it's always 100 gald to spend the night, but hey, full heal, full status restoration, all that sort of stuff, it's never a bad option if you absolutely need to, if you've run out of food, for example.
That was a good session, if I do say so myself. Tomorrow's drill will be even faster.
I thought he was being a crazy demon again, but come to think of it, this is just him being him.
Variations on that skit happen a total of 3 times over the course of the game, and it's one of the strongest arguments as to why Velvet is considered a bisexual character, because she basically stops and enjoys the eye candy. So these two little kids might be familiar from the end of the last stream, because this little one with the pigtails is the one that gave Velvet and Rokuro apples, and this one is, well, a generic NPC. Also, we can talk to that yak over there. We will in a moment because it's funny. Okay, I have to admit, that's adorable. An issue with this game is that sometimes it's hard to differentiate how to talk to different people at different angles, so what you really have to do is just change your physical angle instead of the characters. In this case, I'll have to basically stand next to the apple girl to talk to this kid, instead of talking like this. Big words for a little kid, but yeah, persecution for being from a different village? This treasure chest that you see here once held 420 gold. It is now in my pocket, and then I used it to buy stuff.
That's one fine yak you've got there. What an adorable face.
You might not want to lean in too close.
Why? That is nasty.
That's why.
Yaks ruminate the food they eat while they digest it. Their burps are one of the foulest things you'll ever smell.
Same as cows and goats. Everyone who's raised livestock knows that.
I think that point's been driven home. That's a smell I never want to ruminate on myself.
And here we see one of the issues of Bandai Namco's localization teams, namely that they occasionally miss words, like, in the future instead of in future. Up here, there was some herbs just right next to the tree. A treasure chest, which I have already looted. It had a charm for Rokuro. And a cat's box, which is just around the corner next to the guy sitting on the bench. The cat's box, after I opened it, gave me nothing. And this is one of the issues with the Abbey, due to its prioritizing of the greater good. The individual is often left in the dust, and the punishment is often disproportionate to the deed.
This village seems much more run down than Hellawes was.
This is where the Abbey sends its malcontents. Don't conform or accept the Abbey's rules or commit a crime, and you'll end up here with the rest of the refuse.
And I take it the Abbey doesn't care what happens to this place.
So, disrupt their precious order, and you get banished?
Exactly. I'm sure they'd say it's all part of their notion of reason.
Well, yeah. That exorcist Eleanor said something like that.
After the Advent, the Exorcist showed up to quell the tide of demons and to restore the human world. But demon blight keeps spreading, and the only places they can keep safe are a few of the bigger cities. There aren't enough exorcists to protect everyone.
When the going's tough, cut off any excess baggage. It's the rational thing to do.
I suppose so, but it's too heartless. And that right there, that's the Abbey for you. Humans aren't livestock, and we're not machines either. That's why some of us here, myself included, chose to live here of our own accord.
Guess there are all types of humans out there.
The important takeaway here is that exorcists are neither invincible nor infallible.
So, up here is our first true dungeon of the game, above and beyond while escaping from prison, and our first actual boss fight. So, first off, I am going to do something silly and turn on auto cooking. Well, because, well, who doesn't like automatic cooking, right? What the game doesn't show is that while the trigger condition and dish effect is what happens in the actual battle, so if someone gets the tar beaten out of them, they instantly recover 20% of their health, it also gives you a full heal after the battle. As you can see, each character has a unique cooking skill. Rokuro reduces the duration of being burned when an enemy hits you with multiple fire attacks, while Velvet just reduces the chance of being stunned, which is honestly probably the bigger thing, because getting stunned is upwards of 5 to 7 seconds of standing there with your thumb up your metaphorical backside waiting for something to beat the tar out of you while you can't respond.
Food's ready. It's nothing special.
Remember, as shown in the last stream, Velvet has completely lost her sense of taste except for blood. The fact that she can cook and people are willing to eat it says a lot about her natural ability. Also, as shown in the bottom right corner, there's the little knife and fork icon with an 89 next to it. That is how many times we can utilize the current food supply that we have in our inventory to make more meals. So, welcome to the Hadlow Hollow, which is our first true dungeon. It has some new enemy types in it. Looks like creepy crawlies for the most part, and probably bats. So let's just genocide everything, As you can see, there is a second half to this map, so we'll have to go for a bit.
You better be ready. Your style is really unique.
Just wait until I pull out the good stuff.
As you can see, the enemies in this area are a bit tougher than what we last fought when we could delete an enemy in about 4 seconds. Most of the critters in this are actually reasonably tough and will stay reasonably tough for at least another character level or two. Also, just showing this off, we have just hit mastery with the Amber Boots for Velvet, which means she now permanently reduces the time on cooldown after using an item by 12%, which is pretty nice. As mentioned, I did a bunch of off-screen grinding to get those masteries up, because mastery grinding is directly tied to grade, and grade is, well, how well you do in a fight, so you average maybe 1 to 2 points your typical fight. And this is why you always choose to go off the beaten path as often as possible, because hey, free loot. And look at that, healing items. Quite useful.
Here I come.
Deception! 1, 2! Part 1! See this?
You won't get any pity or compassion from me.
So yeah, that was a new enemy type, the crustacean version of the centipede, and let me just show this off again. The enemy book within the game's menu will not only tell you the various statistics and, well, hit points, what any weaknesses or resistances an enemy has, that sort of thing, but also if they have any rare drops. In this case, the prickle boar, as shown, drops the key item prickle boar meat. But our most recent enemies should be at the bottom of this list. We've only encountered 17 enemy types, so let's just drop right down. And as you can see, the octopus has no unique drops. The centipede has no unique drops. We are pretty much good for basically looting shit, so let's keep on going.
Ugh. What's that smell?
Oil?
And this is currently impassable. We do not get the ability to leap across, well, gaps like this for quite a while yet. Otherwise it would have just been a straight shot. Every dungeon like this has a finite number of enemy spawns per area. So in this case, you can see a total of 5 enemy spawns total, and even if one despawns, it will still stay at 5 until you kill them all, or you just move on. You can move on quite easily because of the fact that most enemies are slower than you, and, well, obviously the fighting of these armored fuckers is a bit of a pain in the ass, but to be fair, the experience points are quite nice, so. When it comes down to it, if you manage to synergize, well, I can't really say synergize because we haven't actually unlocked that mechanic yet, but there's a way to minimize the amount of grinding you need to do in order to get a bunch of levels and to actually stay above the level curve. We are sitting on top of the level curve right now because of the off-screen grinding I did, so we can just completely avoid all this fighting in here. And we'll just run around the perimeter, grab some loot, probably kill the bat over there because it's a new enemy type, and keep on going from there. As you can see, enemies do not like getting too close to the edges of the room that they're in, simply due to game mechanics and all that and pathfinding.
On to battle!
They were nothing.
And as you can see, if you get real good at the combo system, you can just delete things in about a few seconds.
I think we might be able to break this boulder.
And people say I'm foolhardy.
I'm serious. I think we can do it. Are we not demons?
You have a point.
And new mechanic. So yeah, Velvet is strong enough to completely shatter granite boulders bigger than her. And this cat's decided to give us a rose corsage, which, well, is... yeah, it's not very subtle at all, actually. So, as you can see, our objective, the star, is on a different floor entirely. We still have a ways to go in Hadlow Hollow before we can get there. So, let's keep on going.
So it was tar we were smelling. Watch your step. You won't get out if you get stuck.
And another new mechanic, leaping over obstacles. Yeah, this is kind of obvious. You just hold A on the Xbox 360 controller, or X on the PlayStation 4 controller, and it just, yeah, kind of obvious. Looks cool, looks very anime styled. It's kind of what you expect from a game like this because it's, well, incredibly anime. The herbs I am picking up, by the way, are permanent stat increases, so they're quite useful in that regard. Anyway, let's keep on going. We have stuff to explore.
You know what they say? Falling off a rock only makes us stronger.
I don't think that's quite how the saying goes.
Again, new mechanic, never really used beyond this point, but it's still kind of decent to just have. So we actually have two exits here, one just south of us and one just beyond this pile of tar and rocks. So let's go for the southerly one first. If I recall correctly, it leads to a small offshoot with loot.
On to battle! Deception!
Not even worth my time.
So, a golden chest, a pair of new daggers for Rokuro, which is not bad, and as shown there right at the very end of that fight, after you return to the overworld, the map, whatever you want to call it, the other enemy spawns all temporarily pause to allow you to continue moving freely. It's a nice feature, and it prevents you from getting chained into multiple attacks all in a row, which is kind of something that's something that's killed me in more than one other RPG, so it's appreciated.
I'm going to jump.
Don't fall and crack your skull.
So, if you look at our mini-map up in the upper left corner there, you will see that there is a cave icon on the map instead of a just a little diamond shape, which is a zone transition. In that case, it means we are going to a new floor, which means this is the last room in this little cavern system. And here we have something unique. That is a code red enemy. We will actually discover the mechanics of that later in the game. But code red enemies are mini bosses that will always drop a unique passive buff.
A foe worth killing.
as you can see, fighting with Velvet is quite interesting, but using her Therionized arm ends up causing stupid amounts of damage to herself as well, because as you can see, her health is down to 27. So, yeah, that was our first real mini-boss. As you can see, we we didn't do very well, but at the same time we got 9 points of grade for it, simply by the fact that it was, well, that tough of an enemy. Let's hit details. Victory over powerful foe was worth most of that, so not too shabby. And as shown here, in items gained, we get the Acrobat's Ventite, which allows aerial recovery in combat. If an enemy knocks you into the air, you can hold block and, well, recover out of it. This is something that is rare, but before we get this item, we cannot actually use this passive ability. So going out of your way to hunt down all 31 Code Red bosses is worth it.
You're a fine swordsman.
Not as far as I'm concerned. I still have a long way to go.
What sort of demon are you?
A Yaksha. I'm a war demon.
A war demon. Makes sense.
And what about you? You're awfully peculiar, even for a demon.
I'm a Therian.
Therian? That's a new one for me. What sort of demon is that?
A monster that feeds on foes to gain power. I don't know much beyond that.
A woman who devours her enemies. I bet your demon type is hag. Am I right?
What?
Whoa. You've got the death glares down at least.
And that is Rokuro being, well, a walking shitpost, or as I like to call it, a walking B-man.
What sword style do you use? Who taught you?
I'm self-taught.
For being self-taught, you're really good. Your fundamentals are solid too. But then you suddenly throw out these kicks and all these other moves. It's really unusual.
Like I said, it's my own style. What about you, huh? What's with those two swords? You say that big one is your life, yet you never even draw it.
It's best that I don't.
Huh? Is that part of what you learned at House Urangetsu?
Yeah, we pay our debts. That's the foundation of everything we do.
I don't get it.
I admit there's something satisfying about being able to give your enemies the runaround like that. It's a nice mechanic, and I appreciate it, because there's a lot of games that will give you the illusion of freedom to pick whether or not you fight or not, and then, well, the illusion is broken. So, in this case, it's not an actual illusion. It's just very much a case of, depending on whether or not you want to, you can go full genocide or leave everything alive.
You said you can't taste anything. How is your sense of smell?
Why do you ask?
Those two senses work together. You know, like how if you pinch your nose while you eat, the flavor goes away?
If anything, I think my sense of smell has improved. What about you?
All my senses are sharper now. Still, being able to smell but not taste. You said Eutherians eat demons, right? Not what I'd call a pleasant diet.
Look who's talking. What do you eat?
I drink, mostly.
That doesn't sound pleasant either.
Nonsense. There's nothing with more depth and variety. Every ingredient, every process alters the whole. The rich, complex flavor dancing across the tongue. The mellow aroma exhilarating the nose. But what would a child know of such things?
Whatever.
The only downside is, now that I'm a demon, the stuff goes to my head faster than before, too.
Now that you're a demon, huh?
That's one of the things that's actually quite amusing about Velvet, is that she is perfectly okay with murder, arson, mayhem, carnage, kidnapping, more murder, more arson, so on and so forth, but she refuses to drink alcohol because she's 19 and thus underage. I'll show off what that circle on the ground is. It's actually a warp point, but first and foremost, let's break this and get some loot. So, not too shabby, a pile of gold and some cat souls for basically smacking a rock with our foot. Let's keep on going. So yeah, warp points. Obviously you unlock them by touching them. You have to unlock the one at basically the end of the dungeon map to unlock all of the other ones, and some of them stay locked through plot purposes until you walk past them anyway. So in this case, despite not actually having touched the warp point at the entrance, we have it accessible.
An exorcist.
Did he slip and fall?
No! He was thrown in!
Okay, so this is an interesting tutorial. It's one that I don't use as often as I should, but yes, enemies based upon their type are weak to various elements and such, so we can utilize that to actually take advantage of it and, well, rip them a new one, basically. And hello there. I believe that's you, B-Man.
It ain't me, fool. Yes, sir. Hi, Sonar.
Yeah, so how you doing?
I'm trying to see if this setup can work. I'm very tired, so I'm using my phone.
Okay, so in this case, the actual weak point combo I have to use is Searing Edge, Tearing Thorn, Harsher Rebuttal. So let's just pop that into the arts and just set it over that way.
Here I come!
We found our murderer. More fools from Hellawes. Came hunting me down, did you?
It seems that way.
Oh, right. Just wanted to let you know I'm gonna be just reading the chat for you.
Ah, thank you. So as you've probably guessed, I've made a mistake in this fight.
What was the mistake?
Basically, I only have 2 combos left on my soul meter, so I can't actually cause a full combo chain and do real damage to this guy.
You. Oh dear.
I won't die yet. Not until I have my revenge.
Revenge?
You did it.
The bastards at the guild who tried to kill me. They want me to take the fall for their smuggling operation.
Wait, are you saying the whole guild was involved?
Of course. You think a second-rate sailor like me could pull off all that mischief by myself? I mean, sure, I was in on it. Helping them wasn't without its benefits. He has a point. It would take more than one person to dig that tunnel into the warehouse. Problem is, our extra-legal activities were a little too successful. The Abbey was bound to notice us at some point. And dead men tell no tales. So they blame it on you and kill you to cover it up. Looks like it's not going quite how they planned.
How do you mean to get this revenge of yours?
A raid on Hellawes. I'll kill the lot of them. This I swear.
That would be suicide. Do you have any idea how many exorcists are around?
They'll hunt me down no matter what I do. I just want the guild to pay for what they did to me. That's all I wanted. But I guess even that's not gonna work out.
We'll take this back to town and tell them you're dead. That should be enough to satisfy the exorcists and get them to call off the search.
But why?
I have my reasons. We need a boat fixed for starters. Plus, if you stir things up after I leave, I imagine it'll slow down anyone who's following me.
that's what you want, miss, I won't let you down.
Well, that was entertainingly pragmatic and a good way to make someone suffer massive ass pain.
That's not an ass, though. That's a tail.
Yes, but it's attached to the tailbone, which, well, if you've actually managed to bruise the tailbone in your life, hurts like a son of a bitch.
I got a friend who broke his tailbone. He is extremely unhappy about his situation in life.
Gee, I wonder why.
Oh, by the way, Serena says, so what are you gonna do? Just slap him? And then she said, never mind, lol. Following which she said, he's not gonna walk for a while.
Well, he's gonna need a pillow shaped like a donut for a while. So we just picked up a new item in that boss fight. It's called the Denor Bottle, and it's used as essentially a teleport device. As shown here, it's basically, well, return to start of dungeon, so long as you've entered the dungeon at least once.
What's this proof?
A what?
It's proof.
Hell if I know, it's just a bottle. It's just
It's
useful.
a bottle full of alcohol, clearly. Like, how else are you gonna pass the fuck out and just go immediately back to the entrance? Alcohol. Huh. Serena says I've bruised my tailbone before. Let's just say I wasn't able to sit on my backside for nearly 3 days. That's not a let's just say sort of thing, Serena. That's a what turned out is you weren't able to sit on your backside for 3 days or nearly 3 days. Shit, talking is hard.
Loneliest place ever. I hated it so much I became a sailor first chance I could get. But look at me now. If I could do it all again, I wouldn't abandon my home.
I see.
So yeah, Dial actually has some degree of sympathetic motivations, which is why he's still alive instead of being splattered all over the landscape.
Or eaten.
As I said, splattered all over the landscape. This is Velvet we're talking about. Now, I could use that Denor bottle, but they're expensive and relatively rare, so I'll cheat and use the warp
I'm
point.
being hunted too. It's only a matter of time. I can't afford sympathy.
And we're back out here. So, that's a good little loop around for that dungeon. I'm just going to bust that rock over there, but I'm going to go through the small town over here first, on the way back to the city, because there's probably new people to talk to, or at least new conversational options.
Okay, this setup is good. I fixed it.
And shown here, as you can see, by busting this rock, I clear a complete shortcut that is a hell of a lot faster than having to go around. So, it's useful.
I hope you don't think I'm sorry.
I think you should be sorry. That was the worst rendition I've heard of that song in a long time.
You said sorry. Oh shit! I just remembered. I recently finished watching Bon Cop Bad Cop.
Yep,
Okay.
it's a good one.
It was fun.
Yeah, you find anything, it's got nothing to do with us.
Hadlow Hollow.
So, the merchant is officially a weaponsmith, but they also have various supplies and bits and bobs, so let's see what we have here. On occasion, you will find items that are actually on sale, like the set of battle boots that are half price at 158 gold instead of 330. They are completely useless to me at this point in time because I've already mastered the boots for both of my current active characters. I will keep at least one set of boots in my inventory, however, because there's a total of 6 recruitable characters in the game.
How many characters can you have in one battle?
You can have up to 4 active in a single battle, but you can hot swap them in and out as need be, so it's pretty nice like that. And
so you don't need to worry about like XP leakage or
that's right.
No XP leakage?
There's no XP leakage in the sense of if you have someone staying in reserve, they still get full XP even if they aren't directly contributing to the fight, because the implication is that they're the ones wrangling the potential ads instead of actually wrangling the actual fight.
Awesome. Nutmeg.
Fortune Apple. I believe that was a mechanic in earlier Tales games, but I don't remember if it's actually in this one. And yeah, she could use one of those. She's a good girl.
Who? Oh, Apple Girl. Apple Girl seems like a good girl. Figal ice caps.
Yep, and as you can see, the front door of the town of Hellawes is still locked, with a bunch of people waiting around trying to get in.
Locked, dude.
So fuck it, I'm going to go back through the smuggler
last
tunnel.
game. Repeat that again?
So fuck that, I'm going to go through the smuggler's tunnel instead.
Okay. What happens if you try to go through the main door?
The game just doesn't allow you.
No. Okay. Ah, shit. That cat shit again.
Honestly, the cat's souls bit is going to be constant. You actually need over 10,000 of them to get open all 58 cats boxes in the game.
Oh, suffering. Oh, yeah, Serena says that she thought that approaching the main door would actually give you a game over screen.
It will not. The game is rather nice about that, but it's just very much a case of, let's not make a commotion, let's go around instead of having to show that, no, we do not have any identification, we do not have any travel permits, we do not have any trade permits, we are technically unpeople.
I mean, in the true sense, in a sense of the word, they still are people, right?
Well, yeah, it's just they're demons as well, and
Yeah, so
demons are kill on sight.
If you want to be technical about it, they're not people. But if you want to be, like, metaphorical about it, they are people. And also, like, just hearing 10,000 of those orbs. Those cat orbs.
Thankfully, it's not as bad as it could be. It's very much a matter of the cat's orbs you tend to pick up as sort of ancillary to the actual exploration in dungeons and such, and there's a lot of dungeons. We are only a few hours into the game, and we can actually get to the climax of the first act by the 8-hour mark. And the climax of the first act is only the lead-in to the other 5 acts.
Serena, you know I was trying to make a point. Come on. Come on.
Okay, so it looks like we have someone to talk to over there by that tree. That was a good yawn. I guess you're still tired from your shift at work.
I'm not gonna sleep until Sunday.
Well, that's stupid.
We're lucky the snow.
It's stupid and it sucks because I can't do anything about it. I've tried.
Snow is always white.
Wrong. In Hellawes, it isn't always. Depending on the direction of the wind and what the volcano is up to, volcanic ash can mix in with the snow and turn it gray.
There's a volcano nearby?
It's actually quite a ways up north, but it's the biggest volcano in all of Midgand. Mount Hellawes, it's called. And that's
You've heard of Jon Snow.
Sandstone.
Now here comes
It's the
Jon
only place that can
Grey.
mine the stuff.
Snow.
Mount
Jon
Hellawes.
Grey Snow.
It's got a nice ring to it. You ever seen a volcano, Velvet?
No, and I'm not interested.
Serena says, some JRPGs I've dealt with quests that involve dodging the authorities, because I dealt with, the wording here is weird. She's basically saying, like, she's played games where there is, gameplay where you have to dodge the authorities because you're not supposed to be there.
Yeah, I mean, look at Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed.
still-
You have areas where you're not supposed to be, enemies will react to you being in there, and then you murder them.
It's like a stealth section. It's like in Metal Gear, any of them. You're not
kind
supposed
of.
to be there, so if the guard sees you, he'll shoot you.
So there's a couple of little mini collectibles floating about here and there. They respawn every time you re-enter the zone, that sort of thing. I've shown them off before. Let's actually do plot.
Plot.
This is Dial's tale. Did you?
Let's go find this
Did you
plot
really
of
kill him?
land.
We found him dead in a lake of tar. This is all we could bring back.
Is that so?
You can doubt me all you like, but I brought you the demon's body. Who else can say that?
True enough.
Good. Get to work on my ship then.
I'm afraid we can't. We still need Lady Teresa's permission first.
I'm in a hurry. It would be much worse for you if she knew who the real smugglers were.
You wouldn't!
It's a trade. Repair the ship on the beach, and I'll sail away quietly.
Very well. I'll find you your shipwrights. We'll see you at the shore. Hey, Velvet. This would be a perfect opportunity for us to upgrade our equipment. How about it?
Serena
What are
says,
you talking
last
about?
game I played that did that
You don't know?
would trigger an Uber boss that was
We
almost
don't have
impossible
anything
to
like
beat.
that in our village.
And she forgets the title because
All the more
I would like
reason
to know
then.
what kind of game
Come
that
on,
was.
Let's go.
Hey, you don't need to be so pushy.
That's just how I am. Get used to it. Come on.
So yeah, this extends to showing off a new tutorial. You can upgrade your weapons up to +10. At the moment, with the Novice Acerite, which we picked up from the plot event, we end up only being able to upgrade our gear to +3, which is not bad still.
+3 is 3 more than +0.
Yes, that's the point.
I'm good at
Also, at +10, each various weapon and piece of equipment that you collect gets a new name.
that. Can I call it Bob?
No.
Oh.
So, as an example, a Bloodblade needs bronze scrap to upgrade. So, and hey, +8 attack, that's actually pretty good. It's about 15% over and above the base status.
Wait, is there like a point to upgrading weapons that are, you've already like gone past? So, Bloodblades, these are, old school now, like they're useless because you already have hammer blades.
Well, they're not
Is there a
useless. They're not useless per se, but by enhancing a weapon, you also get the enhancement bonus. So you get extra damage against stunned foes with a Bloodblade and hit point recovery on attack. So, when that comes down to it, you unlock new features and bonuses for the various weapons, and obviously the stat spread is pretty solid regardless.
Okay.
Yeah, so you get a +1 obviously, and you get the enhancement bonus giving it a new skill. The skill is not a master skill, so it's not permanently unlocked, it's attached to the weapon. as shown here, once a piece of equipment has been fully enhanced, its name will change and become gold. Yay, happy noises.
You know what this reminds me of? Okay, but first, let me see this. Serena says, sure beats buying new weapons all the time. LOL.
She's actually right in that regard, because enhancing weapons is very important in a lot of games, but in this game it really is quite useful, because each level is essentially a flat 15% buff to your attack power or supplementary powers that each weapon might have. And of course, well, the enhancement bonuses are also quite useful.
Okay.
And of course you can dismantle shit as well, which gives you, in this case, bronze, some fluids, and tempering powder, which is needed to get a weapon between +3 and I think +6.
I did want to say though, this reminds me for some reason of Final Fantasy 13. I just didn't like the systems in that game. I didn't like the game in general.
FF13, I honestly never played that much. It just bounced hard off of me. This is a lot simpler in just about every regard, and you can actually you don't actually have to dismantle any weapon or piece of equipment in the game if you want to, because you can end up just collecting the various crafting materials just by gallivanting about the game world.
Speaking of, right, Serena mentions that in some games, upgrading these weapons
That's how it's done.
also unlocks special and sometimes ultimate
suppose.
abilities.
It seems like kind of a hassle.
Maybe at first, sure. But once you get it down, it'll be second nature. You'll eventually learn how to maximize your personal strengths through wise upgrading and dismantling.
It does seem useful.
Right? If you plan to continue your crusade, upgrading may give you the edge you need. Of course, those who are inadequately prepared for battle probably won't end up on the winning side.
That's certainly true enough. And hey, if it'll make me stronger, I'm sure I'll figure it out. If it'll help me take him down.
So yeah, we never actually have to do that on screen again.
Yeah, you'll just do it off screen.
Pretty much. Let's see, off the top of my head, there's no new conversations to be had, so let's return back to our wrecked ship and see what's up with it. Because we just got the Shipwrights Guild to actually agree to repair the fucking thing.
I wonder if our blackmail is successful. Dial's dead.
Shiny things attract me. I'm like a fucking magpie.
Well, it looks like we'll get the repairs we need.
Maybe, but that's only half of our problem. Without a proper crew, we'll wind up shipwrecked again.
We don't have time to find one, and we can't hire a ship without permission.
We'll just have to do what we can. But we've seen where my sailing skills get us.
I'm not forcing you to come. I'll do it alone if I have to.
I wonder if there are any free sailors around.
And Rokuro with the common sense. Velvet really is obsessed with her revenge to the point that she will essentially sacrifice everything. And this is what makes her what is considered a Byronic hero. She knows that what she is doing is completely self-destructive, but she really has nothing left for herself, so it's all she can do.
It's depressing, you know?
I mean, she spent 3 years of her life in a prison cell for existing, so...
Yeah. Velvet is suffering.
And unlike a certain Miss Evergarden, Velvet does not exactly show her PTSD.
She's a Tales protagonist. She doesn't need to. Serena says, they, if you seek vengeance, you take 2 graves, but in her case, she is willing to dig those
Do the demons
graves.
you kill turn back into humans?
Serena, that you just
What are you
that's,
talking about?
that's exactly
Remember
what the
demon
thing
that
is.
attacked us near the coast? When it died, it turned back into a human. Every demon I've killed has stayed a demon. So I was just wondering what was different.
Do demons stay demons
Anyway,
when
it's
they die?
fine.
But what about Nico and the villagers I killed?
Maybe it's just a case-by-case sort of thing.
Who cares? A corpse is a corpse, whether it's human
It's
or demon.
fine.
I guess being
Serena,
human
we
again
should
doesn't
go.
help much if you're already dead.
Exactly. All that matters is that the demons I devour make me stronger. Nothing more.
She's a good liar.
Serena's a good liar?
No, Velvet. So, let's see. Looks like our ship is being surveyed for repairs, or can it be repaired? Let's see.
She's hopeless. Her keel's busted. It'd be faster to build a new ship.
Her keel?
You could say she's like a man with a broken back. And how in blazes did you end up running aground here? I wouldn't think it possible.
If you can't help, that's enough. Go back to town.
What now? Do we try to find a new ship?
I can't think of anything else. I just hope we have time.
O Empyrean Innominat, hear my prayer. Blessings and honor unto thee.
Well, that
Is
sucks.
frail flesh a sacrifice to be thy foundation?
Sister,
Oh, Oscar! What brings you here? Your face! What happened to you?
a demon got the better of me.
Oh, it's
I was heading
Oscar.
back to the Abbey, but I thought I'd stop by on my way.
My poor brother. I'm so sorry.
There is pain, but I can still fight. The scar will serve to remind me of my inexperience.
An underhanded foe, no doubt.
No. The demon saps her enemy's strength with her left hand and turns
How
them
many
against them.
eyes does he lose by the end of
There's
this
a girl
game?
with black hair and eyes full of fire. She poses a threat for even a seasoned praetor. Please, take care, dear sister.
It was her!
Teresa?
Understood. I will.
It's that girl in pink.
Worry not. A failure as minor as this is not the end of the world.
To be honest, I came hoping you would cheer me up like that. Well, I do believe I recognize those earrings.
Of course. I treasure them dearly. Thank you.
They suit you just as well as I thought they would. I must take my leave now.
Is it weird that a brother would get his sister like earrings?
Normally, I would say no.
We've captured a stowaway.
I wasn't stowing away, you twit. I merely boarded without permission.
You're a collaborator with that demon woman. Where is she?
No, stop abusing me.
Your tortures are useless against the mighty Magilu. Because I'll spill my guts just fine without him.
And that, once you see it, is why Magilu is a shit poster.
Oh, Serena asks if those two, Oscar and whatever her face is, if they're twins.
Oscar and Teresa are half-siblings.
Oh, so it's only half incest I saw right there.
Pretty much, yes.
God, he was weird all the fucking time.
Welcome to Japan, where kissing cousins is more common than in Alabama.
Always ready to fight.
I was like, my family is like from Pakistan, so like,
Not even worth my time.
you know, it was expected at one point that I would end up marrying my cousins. I didn't. But I do have cousins that did marry cousins. I mean, I do have family members who married cousins.
I mean, honestly, if you go back far enough within the genetic lineage, there's something like 15 or 20 mitochondrial Eves, so the entire human race has a total of 20 common ancestors from about a few million years back.
There was word from the Abbey. They're holding a public execution for a witch who tried to draw demons into the city.
Is that so? Sounds like a real nasty character.
I'd stay away from the city if I were you. It's a common tactic for Lady Teresa. Threaten one criminal to draw out their allies.
Are you saying I'm a criminal? Hot calling the kettle black, isn't it?
That's why I'm warning you. Lady Teresa's top class, even among exorcist praetors. I wouldn't think badly of you if you fled. A witch. It has to be Magilu, huh?
It looks like the Abbey is onto us. We'd best assume they've already found the tunnel.
No sense trying to buy a ship now.
Then don't buy one. Steal it.
Steal a ship from Hellawes. Just the two of us.
We have at least one other on our side.
Dial?
He said he can navigate. If he joins forces with us, all the better.
That could be. But what happens to Magilu?
I suppose that's up to the Abbey.
So, that is our new objective, courtesy of Magilu being
Let's head to
Magi.
Dial's Cave.
Sorry, Magilu. Rest in peace.
And in this regard, we get to hijack a ship instead of just, well, being nice.
Oh shit, is this Grand Theft Auto all of a sudden? What's our wanted level?
Bluntly, our wanted level is, using GTA terms, 12 stars.
I think we'll be okay.
You really go all out, don't you?
What do you
Besides,
mean?
Velvet's a walking cheat code.
You're using Dial, threatening the guild, abandoning Magilu. You see?
I'm
Yeah,
not
look at all.
abandoning her. She can take care of
Look at his
herself.
sword that he doesn't
Nothing
use.
stops you, does it?
There's a lot I don't understand about Magilu, but I know she won't be killed so easily. Besides, I'm sure she's already told the Abbey everything she knows about
I get
us.
the
You're probably right.
That means we need an ace up our sleeve. Like a demon they believe to be dead.
All right. One last good sharpening and I'll call this blade done.
So I wanted to say that
Do your blades need sharpening
Velvet.
too? I'd be happy to take care of it for you if you want.
No thanks. I was taught never to leave my lifeline in the hands of another.
Sure. Sounds like you found a good teacher. I don't care if it's me who does it, as long as you're keeping them well maintained. Just in case you don't already know, after you sharpen your blades, you should rub them with clove oil and wipe them down with wool.
Yeah, I know. I was taught that too. By the man who killed my brother.
Yeah, the skits tend to pop up in small clumps like that, but they tend to add a lot of character development and growth to the actual party and such, so I will always go for a skit as a priority. Sorry about that.
But I do want to say that it really just seems such that Violet is the kind of person who will tell herself whatever the fuck she needs to in order to just, like, keep going.
And that's pretty much exactly it. Velvet is doing partly she is telling herself that because she is a demon, human morals do not really matter to her anymore. They don't apply, none of that. The truth of the matter is she is deeply conflicted by it, and it comes to the surface later in the game, but she ends up going nearly insane as a result.
What are you two doing back here?
Things didn't work out. We'll lend a hand with your raid.
Hi, Dal.
To us, aren't you?
I'm a demon. Comes with the territory.
You got me there. Ah, gods. I think that's the first time I've laughed since turning demon. But are you sure? It's suicide, you know.
Maybe not. I have a plan. The exorcists have a hostage they're using to lure me into the city.
Then we can sneak in through the tunnel into the storehouse.
No. I expect they'll have an ambush ready there. So instead, we hit them with a direct frontal assault.
You call that a plan?
No. I call it a feint. As their forces converge on the front, a second group slips in via the tunnel, strikes the docks, and secures a ship. After that, the two groups meet up and we all sail away. And I want you at the helm.
Answer me this, then. Who's making this frontal assault of yours?
I will, naturally.
That works. When?
Tomorrow. Can we rest here until then?
Make yourself at home. Nothing so comfy as a bed of tar.
Velvet? Hey, Velvet? Laffy? You were crying out. Were you having a nightmare?
Oh, Laffy! It was terrible!
Hey, come on, let go of me. I have to go. I have something important to do.
What's that?
Arthur told me to come meet him at the Shrine of Tranquility.
No, Laffy-set! No! Listen to me! Artorius is... He's going to...
Are you all right? You were tossing and turning.
I'm fine. It was just a dream. If you don't want to go with me, I understand.
That wouldn't do. How can I repay you if you die?
You are an odd one.
Am I? I always thought of me as just me. Velvet, who's this Artorius?
My target. He killed my brother.
We're ready. Dial should be at the entrance.
Let's get going then.
So, I discussed this in Discord with you, B-Man, but as I mentioned the other night, Velvet really is an incredibly broken young woman. And you saw how she woke up. She was not sleeping by lying down. She was sleeping by basically being curled up into a ball and leaning against something. And that's due to the fact that she spent the better part of 3 years in prison, where there was no bed, and, well, the prison's definition of feeding her was throwing her a live angry demon at her. So, basically, the poor girl is incredibly screwed up in just about every way humanly possible, and it's not going to get better in any way, shape, or form for a long time.
Yeah, it really does fucking hurt to see, you know?
So anyway, let's get on with the final part of Act number 2, where we steal a ship.
All you had to do was follow the damn ship, CJ.
Sleep well?
Just fine, thanks.
Yeah, Serena's got it. Serena, you've got it on the money. She's a lightsaber
I
because
caught your name.
she had to stay on her toes for like 3 years straight in prison.
If not, at least I know what to put on your tombstone.
You've got a sharp tongue.
I've always been that way.
Right then, we're off to attack Hellawes. That reminds me. Where do you think that boy who took the compass ran off to?
Hellawes, I'd imagine, since Malakim are always tethered to exorcists.
That means we might run into him during our attack.
Are you getting squeamish about killing the boy because you feel indebted to him for healing you?
No. If he gets in the way, I'll take him down.
But?
I have to remember to thank him first.
Right.
Does that bother you at all?
No, not really. I just know that Malakim don't taste very good.
Malakim don't suit your palate? I'll call that a positive.
Okay, I'm just going to do a quick check of the critter glossary just to make certain I haven't missed anything, and then we'll go on to the final step of this chapter.
The step is violence.
Okay, check complete, we're good. I'll just hit the save and then we can go.
Be nice to the save. It's never done anything bad to you. Oh, for those watching at home, no, I'm not gonna stop shitposting with my mouth. Why do you ask?
Asking V-Man to stop shitposting is like asking him to stop breathing.
Fuck.
Who goes there?
Oh, I'm pretty sure you were expecting me.
Oh no. 2 exorcisms. Exorcisms.
I'll cut down anyone in my way!
So, as you can see, there's bonus effects to combos, so the higher your combo number, the basically more often you can hit stuff, increased chance to inflict status effects, so on and so forth, blah blah blah. It's all kind of simple and completely non-responsive to what I'm going to do. And so, now we kick down the front door.
8.
The townspeople are gone. I was right. It's a trap.
You will note that the various buildings we could enter, like the inn and the tavern, have red chevrons around their doors instead of the blue chevrons. That means that the buildings are, quote, closed. They're essentially locked, so you can't actually enter them anyway. There's still a
You
little...
unloaded the interiors. You can't enter them now.
Can't get in them.
Otherwise you'd
So.
fall through them. You want to fall through the world? You don't. So just drop it, man. Don't go inside.
Okay, now you're just being a little shit.
Well, yeah. Whoa, this is way more exorcisms than that were outside. There are only 2 exorcisms outside. Oh, hey. I love the way that one guy in the right was walking.
You're more of a softie than I ever gave you credit for,
It's really
demon
dumb.
lady.
You're here. You're the demon that escaped the island?
What if I am?
You hurt my dear Oscar. You will pay for that. Slowly.
Come and face me then, exorcist!
I am honor bound to aid.
Why you gotta be so weird about it, lady? And I'm asking that like legit. You hurt my god. You fuck my brother up, damn. Go fuck you up too. Maybe this is just an exorcist sort of thing, right? They gotta be so weird about shit like this. It's a fine print, you know, you see? Well, if I want to be like more relevant, Rokuro is holding his own pretty well, so that's nice. I love the visceral feeling here when you put multiple hits on one character, or multiple characters. Multiple hits, multiple characters. It's so good. It looks so good. I have to wonder how it feels. But I know that you're playing and you're kind of distracted, so I'm just gonna keep talking. I wonder what's Maggie gonna do now that this is happening. Is she gonna continue rolling with us? Maybe she might go herself a separate way for the time being. I actually don't know. I really don't. Oh, we definitely gonna be fighting Teresa though. I got a feeling we'll be fighting Teresa. Oh shoot, you're poisoned. You got an item you can use to... Oh, no, you're not poisoned. Yeah, YouTube latency makes whatever I'm saying, like, well, if I'm trying to be pertinent regarding gameplay...
Needless to say, Velvet going full shit-wrecker is pretty impressive.
Number 2.
You can't finish your own work. Coward.
That was the lamest throw.
I won't fall for your taunts. That arm of yours is too dangerous. Besides, to dispose of demon filth, one ought to use an appropriate tool.
Well, I've got tools of my own. Tools of flamestone, sulfur, and oil.
Those will...
Is that a chain around her legs?
What? Our stores of flamestone!
Rokuro!
I'm with you.
Hey! Aren't you forgetting someone?
What are you all doing? After them!
Lady Teresa, the ships, the port. It's all on fire.
Orderlies, put out the fires at once!
So, despite the fact that we just basically murdered something like 50 dudes in that one fight, we only got a grade of 1.2.
It's because you took that fireball like a gigantic wuss.
No, it's actually considered just a mook brawl, so it's not really worth going full on for. And as you can see at the bottom of the screen, I still have full health, so it doesn't really matter.
I totally thought you were gonna go fight Teresa there.
Well, who says the fight's over?
Yeah, I know, but like, I thought that you were going to fight Teresa in that fight. Again, with that stupid fireball.
Never!
I mean, like, I love it because it's so bad.
You deceitful snake!
I'm a demon. Spare me your sins.
Then you can pay with your life!
Oh, okay, she's the fight. I'm pretty sure this constitutes as child abuse. Don't be monster. Serena, come on, back, freaking, Serena, back me up on I love those meaty hits.
I can't afford to let it end here. Oscar. As Exorcist Praetor Teresa, I give you this order. Do it, number 2.
The kid's gonna blow himself up!
To think you were a demon! The crybaby exorcist.
I wasn't trying!
2 praetors. Not looking good.
Knock them back. That's an order. Knock them back, or I'll eat you.
An order?
Now!
Why? Why would they do such a thing to us? We're finished! Hellawes is no more!
Curse you. Curse you. Such ghastly demons. The Abbey, no, Lord Artorius himself must be informed.
Yes.
So, it's a spot of arson between friends.
This isn't just arson, this is the destruction of a town's livelihood.
Yep, pretty much.
Oh, by the way, Serena says, so she saves the kid. I mean, kind of, sort of, she did threaten to eat him, so I'm just assuming that she's keeping him around as a sort of light snack in case she gets that hungry that she wants to eat.
There's also the
Malachim
fact
again.
that, yes, she does not appreciate the taste of Malachim, but there's another reason. Remember the nightmare she had? Remember who she was talking to in the nightmare? Have you noticed how closely number 2 resembles Laffy?
Yeah, I actually didn't notice that.
Yeah, so, by the way, I haven't gotten into this, but titles, you can earn them by basically doing stuff in the course of the game with various characters, all that sort of stuff. The general idea around them is that by continuing to do things to, well, a logical extreme, for example, with Velvet, if you get into something like 5,000 fights total over the course of the game, with her as your controllable character, you end up with a maxed out title, and every title gives you benefits. So, for example, her default title, which is a swordsman title, if I recall correctly, gives her a buff to physical attack and physical defense. Anyway, onwards. Look, we got a new shiny thing. This enables Soul Charge after guarding for a set amount of time. This is kinda useful because Soul Charge basically recharges your little blue crystals that you use for combos.
I like that little exploding Malcolm's like hair halo. It's cute.
Well, that turned out better than I expected. Though we wound up with a little extra.
Extra?
He looks like he'd be a scrumptious midday snack for you.
A snack?
She's just teasing.
No. If that's an order, I accept it.
Should we really be taking this kid along?
His arts will be useful to us, and we can always get rid of him.
Precisely. Malachim are tools. Use them and ditch them. Isn't that right, number 2?
Yes.
And this new save bit here is actually the game suggesting it for obvious reasons. There's going to be shenanigans up ahead.
There's always shenanigans in this game. Velvet's around, come on. She set an entire fucking town on fire.
Yep, and she did a pretty good job of it too.
I mean, like, that 10 out of 10, like, would set on fire again. Shit, dude.
Pretty much. So, we have our little escape ship. It's a rather small carrack. We have Dial and Rokuro up there. We have number 2 standing over there looking at the ocean. And we have the shitpost standing over there.
Number 2.
Well, I'm serious. That's what he's called. That's what he's called. He's number 2.
You're talking about him like he's some sort of little shit or something.
No, I'm serious. He was never given a name. He is just number 2 because...
I know, I'm making a bad joke.
Especially to mask the horror of the fact that what looks like a 10-year-old child was basically being used as a tool or a weapon by the Abbey.
Serena says, always shenanigans in a Tales of game.
Now that was a right old conflagration. Don't think they'll be chasing after us anytime soon. You certainly didn't leave them much of a port, though. I wonder if the town will ever recover.
How much did you tell them?
I had just started episode 2, Magilou's Fury, wherein the beautiful witch is captured and tortured by a demon most cruel!
I'm starting to see why they wanted to execute you.
The best way to describe Magilou is... yeah.
I really do like Magilou, though.
She is an incredible character because of the fact that she is very much comic relief, but at the same time she is also incredibly sarcastic.
I want to watch Magilou and the Tears of the Demon Lord.
You seem busy.
We need more hands. We have to set our course and tie down the cargo. I've unfurled the sails. Does that not look safe to you?
Sure. As long as it doesn't come loose.
Serena, I didn't play Tales of Tilia, so I don't know how crazy things got there. But I agree with you, Magilou is sassy. I think she's probably my favorite. And mostly because, like, she's just that sassy.
Set a course.
I'll do what I can, but this vessel really needs a bigger crew. We need to hire more men. Besides, if we keep sailing this way...
So, Dial knows something about the currents that we do not, because we're sailing into trouble.
Well, I mean, where are we supposed to find extra hands in the middle of the fucking ocean?
Don't worry, trouble will happen anyway.
Velvet!
Yeah, I know, but still. It's the point of it, right? Like,
This is so hard to read.
how is she supposed to know? Oh.
Actually, you're holding it wrong. It's built to function even if the ship is rolling.
Go on, kid, tell her who's boss.
Velvet!
The heading's fine! Kid, what's your name?
Number 2.
Not that. Your real name. Surely you have one.
Oh god, the
You
fucking
wanna hold it?
timing.
If that's an order,
I'm asking you what you want.
so you're ordering me to answer?
Right. You Malakim would destroy yourselves as long as it was in order, wouldn't you?
That is our purpose.
You really are tools. In that case, keep your mouth shut.
Cannon fire astern! Pirates!
That flag, it's got to be Ivory's pirate crew.
They've got a bead on us, folks! And in case you hadn't noticed, we aren't really equipped for
can fight them there.
Huh. Well, look at that. They really are a bunch of demons. That works in our favor.
You knowingly pick fights with demons? Must have a death wish. You're in trouble now that we're on land.
Wipe them out, number 2. That's an order.
Whoa there. We're not the one you'll be fighting.
It'll be me.
A Moloch?
No, I'm the Reaper.
What is this guy?
Apollo, pirate?
A sword, twin blades, and paper.
You can use magic?
I can see.
Oh, by the way, Serena says Tales has its own version of a Freeport. I forget the name, but it's a stable location in the franchise. I like this guy's like coat. It's cool. I'd wear it, but I'm a small person. It probably wouldn't fit on me.
Let's go! I'll be there! Sword 2! Hurricane! See this?
You passed the test.
Nice.
Join us,
Well, aren't you the impudent one?
says the demon who torched Hellawes.
You knew about that?
I hope you realize we're doing you a favor. If you'd stayed on that course, you would have smashed right up against the gate of Vortigern.
You guys are headed for Midgand, aren't you? That means you're gonna have to go through the Narrows up ahead. But the kingdom has a massive fortress there built to defend them, with a tremendous gate.
A fortress.
If this is true, we're in your debt.
We desire to pass through
Thank you
as
for the
well,
support,
but we
Serena.
lack the strength. I propose we form a partnership.
I'd be a fool to blindly trust the words of a pirate.
Do you really want to see the gate for yourself? We won't stop you. We'll even throw you a nice funeral if you like.
So what? We're allowed to refuse?
Your business is your business, and ours is ours. There's nothing more to say.
But First Mate, you can't go alone. We'll all come with you.
You'd only get in the way. Stick to the plan and focus on your duties aboard the Von Eltia.
And that was the start of this boss fight, well, this chapter, and we got 2 new items. Another Ventite and an eye patch, which is purely for cosmetic shenaniganery.
Can you get 2 eye patches and then put both eye patches on a character?
In theory, yes. So, the Daredevil's Ventite here allows a mechanic that basically allows enemy groups to merge together into supergroups. And that gives you a massive boost to the amount of experience and money you get per fight. So, dire foes are a thing in this game. This is something that will show up very rarely, but essentially the more times you fight in an area or a biome or whatever, the more likely you are to have essentially a mini-boss pop up at the end of the fight, and then you have to gank it and its invulnerable minions.
Invulnerable minions?
But you get an achievement for each one you gank.
Shit. Oh, by the way, Comic-Con says, hey, do these, do these.
Dudes. So, there's a couple of people to talk to, but if I recall correctly, there is a save point nearby, and we're getting close to the end of this stream. So if you'll just give me a few moments, yep, there's a save point right up there on top of that ridge. So I'll just head up to the save point and we'll call it there. Thank you very much for coming, thank you very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the game as much as I do.
It's fun. I can tell you that much right now. At the very least, it's very fun to watch. So long as I don't have to watch the grinding.
Don't worry, I try to avoid much of the grinding, but this next area has plot involved with the grind, so you're gonna have to be stuck with it.